Good afternoon. I'm Cadet Major Jacob Bieberstein, the Ram Battalion's Executive Officer, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for today's event. Joining me on stage today is Cadet First Lieutenant Alexis Blue, the Ram Battalion S1 Assistant. On behalf of Dr. Marie Robinson, Superintendent of Bangor Schools, Dr. Paul Butler, Principal of Bangor High School, students, teachers, administrators of Bangor High School, the Ram Battalion welcomes you to this afternoon's special event. Today, we recognize 5 members of the Bangor High School community who, through their military and civilian service, have made a significant contribution to their community, state, and country. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise. For the entrance of the official party, posting of the colors, playing of our national anthem, and invocation provided by Chaplain James Burkhart. Today's color guard is commanded by Cadet Captain Hunter Schultz. Color guard, post! Chaplain James Burkhart will now provide the invocation.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here this evening, or this afternoon. We gather today to recognize and to honor those who, from among our own, have offered their time, their talent, and their lives in the defense of our nation. In our midst are those who may look forward to the day, one day, being part of these and those few, and those who we celebrate hearken back to the time of their youth. Let this occasion be for us not only a time of reflection, but also a time of joy as we gather together in solidarity.
Thank you, Chaplain Burkhart. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We'd like to take a moment to welcome our special guest at today's event. Christina Breen of Senator Angus King's office, Kim Ron of Representative Jared Golden's office, Brigadier General Diane Dunn, the 41st Maine National Guard Adjutant General, Lieutenant Colonel retired Todd Schultz of the United States Army, Mr. Irv Dumont, Mr. Dusty Fisher, Mr. Barry Robertson of the United States Marine Corps League, Mr. Ben Sprague of the Bangor School Committee, Dr. Marie Robinson, Superintendent of the Bangor School Department, Dr. Kathy Harris Smedberg, Assistant Bangor School Department Superintendent, Petty Officer First Class John DeRoche. We'd like to wish him a long and happy retirement. The battalion would also like to welcome the Cole Family Foundation and the Cole Land Transportation Museum, as well an extra special welcome to Miss Rowan Andrews, Constituent Service Representative to Congressman Jared Golden, and the Bangor Ram Battalion's Class of 2020 Executive Officer. Today's official party consists of the Ram Battalion Commander, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Eva Coombs, our honored guest, Colonel Timothy Wright, Technical Sergeant Donald Galloop, Chaplain James Burkhart of St. Andrew's Lodge number 83, and the Cadet Command Sergeant Major Malachi Prairie. As you came in, you may have noticed that among today's official party, one chair remains empty. This chair represents the place where our posthumous nominees would have sat for this ceremony today. This empty chair is our way of recognizing their presence and position in our program today. The Bangor High School Veterans Honor Roll recognizes both alumni and employees of Bangor High School who have distinguished themselves by an honorable career in the United States Armed Forces and continued their contribution to their community. As we approach Veterans Day and take the opportunity to reflect on the impact our nation's service members have had on our lives, it is a great honor to recognize these outstanding individuals for their service to their country, community, and Bangor High School in and out of their military careers. Today's presiding officer is Ram Battalion Commander, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Eva Coombs. Cadet First Sergeant Braden Dennett will introduce our first and second nominees, Captain Arthur Galloop and Staff Sergeant Clifford Galloop of the United States Army.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Cadet First Sergeant Braden Dennett, the Alpha Company First Sergeant for the Ram Battalion. Today it is my honor to propose that Captain Arthur Duncan Galloop and his brother Clifford Fay Galloop be inducted into the third class in the Bangor High School Veterans Honor Roll, joining their brother Donald Galloop. Arthur Duncan Galloop was born on April 1st, 1920 in Lakeview Plantation, Piscataquis, Maine, to the loving parents of Mary D. and Vivian I. Barchard Galloop. The family moved to Bangor just a few years later. Growing up in the Bangor area, Arthur attended Bangor High School, where he was known for his excellent academics and his leadership as president of the Rifle Team Club during his senior year. He graduated from Bangor High School in 1938 and enlisted in the U.S. Army only a year later. 3 years into his service, Arthur was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the 36th Infantry Division. He served with the headquarters staff of the 36th Infantry Division and later as a captain in the U.S. Army Chemical Warfare Service. During his years of service, Arthur was awarded the World War II Victory Medal, the Presidential Unit Citation, the American Campaign Medal, and the Purple Heart. Tragically, Arthur died by striking a mine while following his colonel, Claude J. Merrill. By the time the American forces returned to retrieve his body, the French had secured a coffin and placed him in it, surrounding it with flowers. Some months later, the athletic field at Division CP was named in his honor. He was awarded the Purple Heart for his bravery and sacrifice. Clifford Fay Galoob was born on September 11th, 1910, in Lakeview, Piscataquis, Maine also, to the parents of Murray Duncan Galoob and Vivian Inez Bartruc. He was an active and prominent member of the Bangor High School, where he served all 4 years in the ROTC program. In addition to his dedication to the ROTC program, Clifford was a member of the Drama Club, the Rifle Team, the Rifle Club, and the Track Team. Clifford, also affectionately known as Scotsman, and Cliff had a winning personality that made him very popular and well-respected in all aspects of his school career. His leadership skills shone brightly during his senior year. He served as captain in the ROTC program. Clifford was drafted at the age of 35 to World War II, where he entered communications. He went to Camp Crowder, Missouri for his basic combat training. For the next 3 weeks, Cliff spent learning, as the Army say, soldiering, how to pitch a tent, first aid, guarding a room, basic signaling, shooting, moving, and communicating. Cliff led the way as a very strong and effective leader, a signalman in World War II. He worked on sending communications between air, land, and sea, as well as keeping the security of the line and decoding enemy signals. The Signal Corps was made of 350,000 men who were all united by the Signal Corps motto of Pro Patria Vigilans, meaning watchful for the country. His hard work ethic and strong moral compass guided him throughout his career in the armed forces and achieved the rank of Staff Sergeant leading a squad of men. Upon retiring from the United States military, Clifford joined the civilian workforce, working for a telephone company in Connecticut, where his strong character helped him achieve a successful life. Clifford passed away on the 29th of November, 1996, at the age of 86, in Bangor, Maine. Based on these contributions and achievements of Captain Arthur Duncan Galoob and Staff Sergeant Clifford Fay Galoob, the Bangor JROTC would like to propose the induction of Captain Arthur D. Galoob and Staff Sergeant Clifford F. Galoob into the Bangor High School Veterans Honor Roll.
Thank you, First Sergeant Dennett. By the wrap of this gavel, Captain Arthur Galoob and Staff Sergeant Clifford Galoob is hereby inducted into the Bangor High School Veterans Honor Roll.
Technical Sergeant Donald Galoob, a member of the second class of the Bangor High School Veterans Honor Roll, is accepting the plaque on behalf of his brothers, Captain Arthur Galoob and Staff Sergeant Clifford Galoob. At this time, Cadet Sergeant Major Uriah Clark will introduce our third nominee, Technician 4 Galen Cole of the United States Army.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, students, faculty, and family members. I am Cadet Sergeant Major Uriah Clark. It is truly an honor to be here today as we induct an exceptional individual into our Veterans Honor Roll, Technician 4, Galen Cole. A 1944 graduate of Bangor High School, Galen's life has been a remarkable testament to courage, service, and leadership. During World War II, Galen served as a combat infantryman with the U.S. 5th Armored Division. On April 2nd, 1945, in the midst of fighting in Germany, Galen lost his entire squad, 5 men killed and 8 wounded. Despite the immense personal loss, his bravery earned him both the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star, recognizing not only his valor, but his deep commitment to his fellow soldiers. After returning home, Galen's sense of duty didn't end. He dedicated his life to his community, working over 50 years at Coles Express, where he rose to the role of president and helped grow the company into a key regional carrier servicing Maine, northern New England, and Canadian Maritimes. But Galen's service extended far beyond his business. He served on the Bangor City Council at the age of 29 and became mayor at just 30. And later he held the leadership roles in the Bangor Chamberlain of Commerce and the University of Maine College of Business Advisory Board. His contributions were instrumental in the development of this region and the well-being of its people. Perhaps Galen's most enduring legacy is the Galen Cole Family Land Transportation Museum, in which he and his wife, Suzanne, founded in 1990. The museum has become a beacon of history and patriotism, educating over 50,000 school children and through its Ambassadors Patriotism program. More than 500,000 visitors from across the world have walked through its doors and learned about the sacrifices of our veterans and the rich history of Maine's transportation heritage. Though Galen passed away in 2020, his legacy endures through his museum, his family, and the countless lives he touched with his service, generosity, and leadership. Galen always lived by a simple but powerful principle, that if he was granted the chance to return home from war, he would dedicate his life to making the world a better place than he found it. And through his actions, he did just that, leaving a lasting impact on all of us. It is with great pride and deep gratitude that we induct Galen Cole into our Veterans Honor Roll today. His example of service, sacrifice, and dedication will continue to inspire generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Major Clark. By the wrap of this gavel, Technician 4, Galen Cole, is hereby inducted into the Bangor High School Veterans Honor Roll.
Miss Janet Cole Cross, daughter of Galen, is accepting the plaque on behalf of her father. At this time, Cadet First Lieutenant Alexis Blue will introduce our fourth nominee, Technician 5, Robert Salzman of the United States Army.
Good afternoon. I am Cadet First Lieutenant Alexis Blue. Today it is my honor to acknowledge Technician 5, Robert Salzman, who will be joining the Bangor High School Veteran Honor Roll. Robert Salzman was born in Bangor, Maine in 1926. and lived in Bangor until 1950 with his two older brothers. His two older brothers were drafted in World War II during his time at Bangor High School. His older brother, Bill, was a journalist during the World War II, and his second brother, Elmore, was wounded at Mormon Beach and received a Purple Heart Medal for his bravery. During his time attending Bangor High School, he was an accomplished student and athlete. He served as class president for all 3 years, and in his senior year, he was the student council president, the president of the National Honor Society, the captain of the Bangor High School football team, and he was also the lieutenant colonel in the Ram Battalion until he graduated high school from 1944. After graduating, Robert enlisted in the Navy to serve in World War II along with his brothers. His outstanding math and science test scores earned him a spot in the Navy prestigious electrician program. After serving for 2 years when World War II ended, he was honorably discharged in 1946 and enrolled in the University of Maine, Orono with the benefit of the GI Bill. There, he majored in physics engineering and met his first wife, Sally Gass, who was from Bangor, Maine as well. Robert graduated from university in 1950 and soon after married Sally, along with accepting an engineering position in Wilmington, Delaware. Robert had a successful career as a physicist starting at Hercules Inc. in 1950 to 1955, before working at DuPont in 1955 to 1994. He began an application engineer in their instrument production division, and after a series of promotions, he was enlisted the title of Research Fellow, the highest technician position at DuPont, and during his career, Robert presented at numerous conferences across the U.S., along with in Canada, Europe, and Russia, along with China. Robert Saltzman is a man of great accomplishments and full of determination. No matter what came his way, he would push through with a smile and thrive to the end. And even with all those accomplishments, if you were to ask him which accomplishment made him the proudest, he would say it would be his 4 children for all their accomplishments within their unique ways, making him the proudest father. Based on the contributions and accomplishments of Technician 5, Robert Saltzman, the Bangor JROTC would like to propose his induction in the Bangor High School Veteran Honor Roll.
Thank you, Lieutenant Blue. By the wrap of this gavel, Technician 5, Robert Saltzman, is hereby inducted into the Bangor High School Veterans Honor Roll.
Today, it is my honor to propose that Colonel Timothy Flynn Wright be inducted into the 3rd class to join the Bangor High School Veterans Honor Roll. He graduated from Bangor in 1996. He played varsity soccer his freshman and sophomore year and was the captain his junior year. He played varsity football his senior year, and during the winter, he played junior varsity basketball his freshman and sophomore year. His junior and senior year, he played varsity basketball. He wasn't just an athlete, he also participated in the Latin Club and class council. Colonel Wright decided to join the JROTC Ram Battalion his freshman year and was quickly promoted to the rank and position of Command Sergeant Major his sophomore year. His junior year, he became the executive officer, and his senior year, he was given the honor of being the 134th Ram Battalion Commander. After graduating from Bangor, he joined the Long Gray Line at the United States Military Academy at West Point in the class of 2000. Colonel Timothy Wright was known for embodying the West Point traditions of duty, honor, country. The honor code of a cadet will not lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do, and his class motto of with honor in hand. Colonel Timothy Wright graduated from West Point, receiving a Bachelor's of Science, majoring in United States history, and a concentration in computer science engineering, and graduated on the Dean's List. After his graduation from West Point, he became a company commander in the 1st Infantry Division at Fort Riley. There, he planned and executed a full spectrum of operations, leading a company in an infantry brigade combat team. He was there from 2006 to 2008. After that, he received orders to Fort Benning, Georgia, to be a company commander for the 75th Regiment's Reconnaissance Company. After this, he decided that he wanted to expand his education and attend the United States Naval War College, where he achieved a Master of Arts in National Security and Strategic Studies. He graduated with the highest distinction, being in the top 5% of his class. He then went to the sunny beaches of Hawaii and became the operations officer for the 2nd Stryker Brigade Combat Team. At the beginning of 2013, he was promoted to the executive officer for the 2nd Stryker Brigade. After this, he decided that he wanted to further his educational prowess and study at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and earned a PhD in political science. He was then sent to Poland to become the North Atlantic Treaty Organization's Battle Group Commander. Shortly thereafter, he became the squadron commander for the 2nd Cavalry Regiment. After 2 years, the Army promoted him to Lieutenant Colonel, and he was put on the Joint Staff as an operations officer. Then he worked at the White House as the Director of Russian Affairs on the National Security Council. His current job with the United States Army is as Director of the British Army Futures developing and testing new equipment for the battlefield of tomorrow. Based on the contributions and accomplishments of Colonel Timothy Wright, the Bangor JROTC would like to propose the induction of Colonel Timothy Flynn Wright into the Bangor High School Veterans Honor Roll.
Thank you, Major Bieberstein. By the wrap of this gavel, Colonel Timothy Wright is hereby inducted into the Bangor High School Veterans Honor Roll.
Thank you, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Coombs. At this time, it is my pleasure to welcome our honored guest, Colonel Timothy Wright, to the podium. Colonel Wright, the podium is yours.
A little embarrassed about the pictures. I think the one on my left, your right, that's a strong photo. Still working on the jawline though, at a young age. Hey, thanks for sitting here and listening to me, especially the students understanding that I am standing between you and your weekend. I really appreciate you being here, and I really am honored to receive this recognition and to be able to speak today. My kids, Bronwyn and Griffith and Fiona, also thank you because they should be in class right now at Dowdy and Mary Snow, but instead they're cutting class to be here, so they also thank you as well. So I've been asked to talk today about how the town of Bangor and this high school connects to my military experience. And just off the top, I think I'm the luckiest guy, perhaps, who's ever served in the Army. I've had an opportunity to get an education from some of the top institutions in the world. I've been forced at times, and other times given the opportunity to go through some of its most challenging training, from these barracks at West Point to United States Army Ranger School, even jumping out of airplanes wearing an oxygen mask at 25,000 feet, to going to being interrogated in a very, very small cell in a dark corner of Alabama. I've also been lucky enough to live and be welcomed in local communities all around the world. I spent 7 years in the Pacific, 5 years in Europe, and even a couple years in Manhattan, Kansas. That's not the one you're thinking of. It's the one in the middle of the country, kind of sitting alone on a prairie in the middle of nowhere. And then I've also, was lucky enough to volunteer and serve over 3 years in combat from the mountains of Afghanistan to the streets of Baghdad. So how does all this connect to Bangor, to this place? Well, I would argue that one of the reasons, and one of the primary reasons why I survived academia, because here, just like at West Point or at MIT, the standards at Bangor High School are really, really high. And nothing would be given that wasn't earned. It forced me to read things that I didn't want to and I didn't really understand, but you're going to be successful, you had to do the work. And I can prove that because it turns out if you hand in a book report on a book you didn't finish, and making up how it ends doesn't generally lead to a good grade. If you have to guess who shot who at the end of The Great Gatsby, sometimes you get it wrong and you get a D, which I definitely did. I also learned to write here. Mr. Ames' junior year honors English class. He's like, oh, it's great, we read books, we're gonna write papers. No, the first entire quarter we did nothing but grammar. I'll say that again, nothing but grammar. It was awfully painful, but I tell you what, it gave me the tools to learn how to express myself like an adult. And then math. God, I was bad at math here. Even had a teacher my senior year pull me aside in calculus. He's like, are you sure you're really supposed to be in this class? And perhaps I wasn't, but I wasn't going to quit, and I had a lot of help, and eventually I got to the point where I could hold my own. Funny enough, that happened at MIT as well, and I didn't quit there either. I was ready for all the training the Army could throw at me because I learned here that success came from repetition, from hard work, and sometimes pain. Uniform inspections at JROTC, exacting standards of conduct, appearance, discipline, they all help you survive all the various creative training you get your first year at West Point. No physical test they could throw at me was going to be worse than during freshman basketball practices, where Coach Hackett's rule was very, very simple. He said this the first day, and he backed it up. Fellas, I'll show you the drill once. You screw it up, I'll show you again. You screw it up a third time, we're gonna run. And we ran. Oh my God, did we run? But we got kind of good too. We got good at drills and at running. And then eventually that translated into state championships by the time we were juniors and seniors. And by the time the Army got a hold of me and tried to break me physically, well, I mean, get in line, I was already a pro from that basketball court over there. Thousands of hours spent kicking a ball, making tackles, running plays, over and over and over again. I didn't know it at the time, but I was learning the blueprint. I stunk at almost everything I did the first time that I did it. But then you put in the work, you get better, and all of a sudden you don't stink so much. And that works for football, jumping out of airplanes, leading 1,000 people in a massive Army organization, or playing tennis. I was lucky enough to make friends all over the world because I started to learn here, mostly by accident, that people didn't have to look just like you or be just like you to be pretty awesome. I didn't go to middle school here in Bangor. I went to school in Winterport. So when I was a freshman, I didn't know anyone. I was interested in a lot of things, so I did a lot of different things. I was an athlete. I did our junior ROTC. I took academics mostly seriously. I was naive enough to think I could even perform in the talent show. And lucky enough, that took place at a time before everyone had a cell phone that could record every second of your life. So you could say I hung out with jocks, nerds, losers, dorks, basically anyone who'd hang out with me. Because I think I needed their friendship more than they needed mine. I had to take chances and I had to open up or I was going to be pretty darn lonely. You know, not everyone you kind of reach out to is great, but by reaching out beyond my comfort zone, I got to know some really, really interesting people who were very different from me and they could become lifelong friends. Started to learn how to do that here, and I've tried to do that throughout my life and still working on it. I suppose if you take all the things I just talked about and a lot more and put them into a hopper, that's what it takes to get you through 3 years of combat. And nearly every challenging thing I've done since then, not just that. But it takes all of your brain power to try and come up with ways to work some of the hardest problems you've ever seen. It takes all of your endurance and strength to patrol for hours in 60 pounds worth of gear and then have to go max effort when the shooting starts. And when you're away from your loved ones for a year, no phone, no internet, it takes every member of the motley crew that the Army assembles and throws you into combat with from across the country, across all walks of life, to be your friends, to be your family, and your lifeline when times are the toughest. Even that crew, you work your butt off every day in and day out, good days and bad, huge highs, massive lows. Every once in a while, when you pause, you take a breath, you take stock, you find out that things have changed. Things have maybe gotten slightly better, and no matter how dark it may seem in one of those periods of time, you're always moving towards something better. I guess that brings me to my final point. All of this had to start somewhere. For me, this place, Bangor, this high school, I guarantee one of you guys is sitting in the exact same seat I think they might have upgraded the seats. Pretty close. It's the exact same seat that I was sitting in, you know, many years ago. This start was, for me, a great one, but it was just a start. It gave me the tools to make a really great and interesting life, but the tools don't build a house by themselves. You have to choose how to use them. I made choices, and so do you, and so will you. And look, let's be really clear, like I just told you a really great story, how it's all, you know, neat and gleaming. It seems like it all makes sense, and like I had it all figured out standing up here in my blue outfit, lots of flair. But I didn't know what I was doing. I really didn't. So I took the tools that I had, started here at Bangor High School, and I started building. I made mistakes, I went down dead ends, I had to change direction multiple times. And you will too. It's really hard to know what the right direction is. So when in doubt, I'd offer you this. Challenge your brain now, so it'll be ready when you need it. Repetition and hard work makes you good at things. So when you don't know what to do, just do that. And then find positive people and keep them in your life by being there for them more than they are for you. And in doing so, you'll build a team and community every place you go. I haven't always done these things well, but when I have, they really work. And I hope they work for you as you go forward. I'm incredibly honored to receive this recognition. I'm really excited about the next steps in my life, family's life, and I hope you're excited too, because I look out here, I see a ton of potential and a ton of people that are going to have an amazing opportunity to have a huge impact on the world. You're starting from a great place. Wish you the best of success, and thank you again.
Thank you, Colonel Wright. At this time, please rise for the benediction and exit the official party. Chaplain James Burkhart will now provide the benediction.
Let's be in the spirit of prayer. As we depart from this place to go about our day, may the blessings of heaven rest upon each of you, and may the remembrance of those whom we celebrated fill our hearts with the faith in the goodness of people, hope for an always better tomorrow, and loyalty to stand by each other in the most difficult of times. Greater love hath no one than to lay down their life for another. Though each of us may suffer our own fears and failings, let the examples of those we honor today guide us and strengthen us in all our laudable undertakings, always to be the best that we can be. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Burkhart. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's induction ceremony. A short reception for guests and cadets will be held in the JROTC classroom. On behalf of the Ram Battalion, we thank you for your attendance. All students, please remain in Peaks Auditorium until the 2 o'clock dismissal bell. I would like to take a second to ask that we have one last round of applause for everyone who helped organize this event, especially Mr. Raymond Finney, Mr. Tipton, Mr. Hutch, and the Bangor High School Yearbook Committee, the Bangor High School Administration, and our cadet speakers, Cadet First Lieutenant Alexis Blue, Cadet Sergeant Major Uriah Clark, and Cadet First Sergeant Braden Dennett.